There's so much involved in providing safe school bus transportation that very few people outside of our industry even come close to understanding everything. Now, there's no doubt that school bus transportation is the safest form of land transportation in the world. But because we transport children, if anything goes wrong, we're immediately put under the magnifying glass by the press, the lawyers, the parents, and some incidents even make national headlines. Now, don't get me wrong, almost everyone in the school bus industry does a great job. But is school bus transportation really safe enough? Honestly, the answer is no. Until we have 0 child fatalities and 0 injuries every year, we can never be satisfied. Did you know that every year an average of 15 students are killed on or around the school bus and hundreds are injured? Also, for millions of students, the bus ride can be a nightmare due to bullying or teasing. So, you see, we're good, but we can be better. Now, ask yourself, what can we do to operate more safely? What can we do to improve as an industry? First, you must understand that the quality and safety of school bus transportation is under the control of the drivers. They are the heroes who deliver the service. So, how can we help the drivers deliver a safer, higher quality of service? Well, there are 2 answers: the very best training and the very best leadership. Just compare the amount of training provided school bus drivers with the training provided drivers of other commercial vehicles. Drivers of trucks receive 240 hours of training. Greyhound drivers receive 200 hours of training. Transit bus drivers receive 114 hours of training. But on average, school bus drivers receive only 35 hours of training, a mere fraction of what a truck driver receives. Now, I realize that many factors influence the limited amount of training provided to school bus drivers, so what we're trying to do is make the best use of the driver's limited time while achieving the highest quality of training possible. That's why we've created the most comprehensive driver training course on the market today. This expansive new course contains 26 DVDs covering 25 subjects and a final exam. We've arranged the subjects into 6 groups. First, there's safety and defensive driving. This includes safety best practices and the LLC defensive driving course. Second, we cover subjects about the bus. These are meet the bus, pre- and post-trip inspections, mirror adjustment and reference points, and finally, check your brakes. The third group is about driving situations. These include intersections, safe backing, railroad crossings, danger zones, pedestrian and bicycle safety, adverse conditions, and mountain driving. The fourth group covers subjects about the driver. These are driver fatigue, driver distractions, preventing harassment, and drugs and alcohol. The fifth group focuses on subjects that directly relate to the children. These are safe bus stops, student management, extreme student behavior, checking for sleeping children, power line safety, and preparing students to learn. Finally, the sixth group covers the actions required when all else fails. These are emergency evacuations and post-accident procedures. The last disc includes a final exam to make sure the trainee has achieved the level of learning required to safely operate a school bus. As you can see, this is a truly comprehensive training course which covers almost every subject needed to make sure your drivers are the safest they can be. Included in the kit are all the materials to support the learning experience. First, there's a guide explaining how to get the most out of the driver training course, a behind-the-wheel trainer's guide, a classroom trainer's guide, a copy of the driver's study guide, a booklet explaining how to set safe norms, the answer key to the final exam, and 15 large posters that you can swap out each month to remind drivers about safe practices. The most effective way to develop safety-conscious drivers is to change their behaviors, and this course has been created to do just that. I'm sure you've all heard of businesses adopting a vision, mission, and value statement, but for the most part, they're aimed at the overall goals of the district or company and barely relate to the drivers. You'll hear goals like to operate the safest, lowest-cost transportation with the highest quality of service. But this means nothing to a school bus driver. We'd like to propose that you utilize a vision, mission, and value statement that's aimed squarely at the school bus driver. The vision? To do it right the first time, every time. The mission? To remove or reduce risk. And the shared values of having no unsafe behaviors. I'm sure you can agree that these are the actions that we want the drivers to be focused on at all times, a creed to live by. Take a look at this poster. It summarizes the goals of the course and details the actions required to achieve them. This is simple to understand, simple to put into practice, and straightforward. If you train, explain, engage, and lead your drivers with these practices, you'll be a far safer organization. As you will see, this is the outcome we seek through this training course. When the drivers practice the actions on the left side of this poster, you will reduce your accident frequency and make the kids safer. Your drivers are professionals, and no one wants to be a failure. If we train them in the best practices, then lead and encourage them to follow these practices, they will achieve these goals. The entire focus of the school bus driver training course is on changing a driver's behavior. A driver who's committed to reducing or eliminating risk will never engage in unsafe behaviors that can lead to an accident. Adopting the vision of doing it right the first time every time and accepting the mission of reducing or removing risk will foster the values of never engaging in unsafe behaviors. If we lead our drivers into these practices, together we can take school bus safety to a whole new level. Our two foundational courses are Safety Best Practices and LLC Defensive Driving. These teach all the foundational practices to achieve these goals. Remember, the content and quality of the training you provide directly influences the outcome of your service. By using this training course as it's designed, you will change the behavior of your drivers to be the most professional and safest drivers on the road. Don't the students you transport and the parents you serve deserve this level of care?